Aloha, everyone. I want to welcome all you stewards of the lands, humanitarians, and solutionists to another dose of positivity. This is where I have the great privilege and the honor to interview passionate change makers, thought leaders, social and environmental innovators, and wellness professionals. And happy holidays. This is our first of our holiday shows. We have another one coming next week, and we hope you'll join us for that too. And I'll tell you about that at the end of the show. But the topic for this show today with my special guest, Dr. Alvita Soleil, is mindful holiday self-care tips. But before we get started, I want to thank you all again for being here on the live show. I want to remind you that you have the opportunity to put questions in the chat. You can even raise your hand and come on live and personally introduce yourself to Dr. Alvita. She is awesome, a doctor of Chinese medicine and so many other things. And you will hear that intro in just a moment. And thank you, Dr. Alvita, for being here. And as we're waiting for people to come into the show, I am going to read you something super epic, cool, and fun from my book, Living Like the Future Matters. And I want to share something super dope and extra special about Dr. Alvita. I think so highly of her that I invited her to write the foreword to this book. And not only that, I mention her in this book, so I thought it would be appropriate to read this section of the book. And this is after I dove down into, I don't even want to use the word depression. I don't know where it was, but Dr. Alvita Soleil was one of the main people who helped me rise like a phoenix. So here we go. So I am in Hawaii, and I hook up with this incredible practitioner of Chinese medicine. Dr. Alvita Soleil tested my blood, my urine, and saliva, and she routinely checked my pulse and my tongue. Acupuncture got my chi in order. I got deep tissue massages twice a month from Rebecca, another incredible healer who learned from a master in the Philippines. Both wise women gave me support and the guidance I needed. I wove in the good ideas from the other sources and incorporated the whole systems approach from strong, stretched, and centered, where I had become trained to be a fitness instructor. My bum knee prevented me from doing aerobics anymore, but there were other things that I could do. No more excuses. Getting back into nature was part of my plan. 2 times a day, I gingerly walked up and down the steep country road, animalizing with these 2 beautiful 75-pound, 4-legged friends, Dusty and Doobie. Often I felt they were the ones taking care of me. Within a month, I could hike up the hill twice as fast without my knee brace. Cool. Well, partly I wanted to read that so you knew this is in 2005 or 4 even, when I am at this point in my life when I meet this incredible person who is speaking today. And one of the tips you will also see in the blog, until we'll put that blog in the chat that I wrote this week, is these connections we have with these people. Whoa, what a tip to stay and nurture yourself around the people who love and care about you over these holidays, over this holiday and all year round. Without further ado, I want to share more about Dr. Alvita Soleil, who is a student of life. She's a doctor of Oriental Medicine, a medicine woman, a teacher, and a most incredible visionary artist. Energy medicine and human consciousness has been her dedication and her passion for the past 42 years. She has studied many healing modalities before she received her acupuncture degree from the American College of Traditional Medicine in 1982, and she graduated as a Doctor of Oriental Medicine from the Institute of Oriental Medicine in China. Wow, in 1988. We're going to want to hear about that. For 20 years, she operated a successful holistic clinic in Mill Valley, California. When where the unique approach to health and wellness was so sought after that the readers of the San Francisco magazine voted her one of top alternative medicine doctors in San Francisco Bay Area. She was featured in Suzanne Simmons' book, Healing Vacations in Hawaii, a travel guide to retreats, alternative healing, and spas, healers and spas. She's also the founder of Aloha Health Clinic in Kamuela in 2004. That's when I met her. Dr. Soleil offers an integrated body, mind, spirit approach to health and well-being. Having dealt with many health issues, she drew upon the wisdom of her own life healing journey, which we're going to talk about today. And I want everybody to really think about your own life healing journey and how you can ask Dr. Alvita some questions to help you. With the use of her intuitive gifts, she combines many holistic healing modalities in her practice, such as acupuncture, herbology, homeopathy, live blood cell analysis with the Dake field microscope, nutritional and allergy testing, and spiritual counseling. Her emphasis is on prevention, detoxification, strengthening the body, awakening the mind, and empowering the spirit. Trust me, she does all of this. Dr. Soleil also offers private one-on-one wellness retreats, and her joy and passion for healing, teaching, and assisting people in cultivating their own inner master is guided by her love for the truth and reverence for both the light and the shadow in each person's life journey. And we will be having all of Dr. Soleil's links in the chat. And without further ado, that is my introduction of this most incredible, not only doctor, but friend and colleague, Dr. Soleil. Welcome to A Dose of Positivity.
Wow, what an introduction, Donna.
I had to cut it in half because there's so much more to talk. Hi, everybody who just
Aloha, everyone. It's nice to see some wonderful faces on the screen here. So I want to thank you, Donna, for inviting me to participate in this conversation, which the theme of today is Mindful Holiday Self-Care Tip. So I'm very grateful to be here and to share my story and my knowledge with all of you.
So great.
Yeah, and I appreciate your passion, Donna. It's just like, you are amazing. So thank you for your dedication in making that world a better one.
Yeah, well, thanks to people like you, I'm still kicking, baby. Because Dr. Soleil is still somebody who is one of my primary healers and nurturers. But you know what? Let's start, because I think people are going to be curious about your beautiful accent and also just your journey. You've been doing this for a long time. So
Yes.
Where were you before this all started, and how? Journey?
I think it's a wonderful question, because hearing personal stories, bring a quality of connection and interconnection, between us. So it's important for the audience to know that doctors have also challenges like everybody else, and also they make mistakes, And I recognize that there is only a few doctors who really wants to be doctors, and those are the healers, those are the one that wants to heal and want to learn about how to heal. So, and that reminds me of the first known Chinese medical text in 2600 BC. It says, superior doctors prevent diseases. Mediocre doctors, treat the disease before it becomes too evident. And inferior doctor treats the full-blown disease. And I think you and I and a lot of people in the show, I'm sure, are there to the preventative, where doctors can treat mind, body, spirits, and soul, and not just part.
Beautiful. Wow, that I
think before.
I'd like to get that, what you just said, and we'll put that in our Facebook group because I think that would be good for people to read. But let's go back to you and your beautiful
Personal story, of course,
Yeah.
personal story. Well, I was born in France, grew up in a very small little village in the Alps, big mountains, a lot of snow. And my family was very dysfunctional, like many other families, I would say.
Perfect holiday conversation, yes.
Yeah, but it's part of that, right? Right. Very controlling and emotionally and somewhat physically, abusive. My dad was away 6 days a week. My mother suffered from intense physical pain all her life. And my grandmother and the sister of my grandmother used to live with us, all under the same roof, so 2 wars. So you just imagine that, and in addition, we were also very poor. So it was a very intense childhood and adolescence. It had a huge impact on the direction of my life and my psyche, and have done a lot of inner healing, and continue still to do it, to undo the imprint. And I can remember in my earlier childhood, that voice. There is a voice in my head that always has been there that says, it is not supposed to be that way. It does not supposed to be that way. It does not have to be so painful. It doesn't have to feel so lonely. And this is why I left home when I was 17. And in a search of something, and then with no role model, no way how to really think healthy, I basically survived a long period of time in my life and got sick, a lot of health issue, depression for sure was in, and actually I had even 2 cancers. Fortunately, and I was very fortunate to take refuge in nature and also on Mother Mary. She was my best friend and still is my best friend. So that imprint really forged me. And there is definitely a few life markers in my life, some happy ones, some very sad ones. But what I learned early on, seeing my mother in such a pain, I knew it was not just physical pain, but it was also emotional pain. And I really understood that, profoundly. In my early 20s, you asked for personal, and here it is, right, Donna?
Okay.
I lost 4 members of my family, my mother, my father, my dad, and my brother. And that from a car crash. And that was for me the beginning of an understanding that we are not just the body. That was an introduction for me to know that we are not just the body, but there is a soul here that exists. And I had many experiences, with that. So that was a very profound experience also. And another fun one. You want to hear a fun one?
Yeah, and then we'll move on to tips because you got through all of this.
And fun one. So who is in the audience who watched TV? You remember when the astronauts sent back to us a photo of the Earth, from space?
Yeah.
Wow, that has also a huge impact for me, from seeing that teeny little blue ball floating in space, in darkness. It woke me up to the reality that we all come from the same boat.
Oh, yeah.
We are sharing the same home, the same habitat, and we are bound also to the same fate. That was very striking to me, and that we are all here together. And for me today, the climate change is also a fierce remember of that vision.
Yeah.
That the earth, and so is our body, is a living, breathing organism that feeds and sustains us, that also respond to our choices and cries for our care. So there is that. Do you want to know more, or do you want to?
Well, all I want to say that this ties into everybody who's listening, and I know this to be true because Alvita works on me probably at least 12 times a year. This point about being an energy healer, I think this is where, if we all tune in like you're talking here, this is that energy or that oneness that I feel so many people have disregarded in their everyday lives. So as far as,
and maybe even a little exercise to promote what you are saying here, that interconnection, that we are all basically all one. I have a deep love for sunset, and I don't know, I'm sure you do know that too, Donna, and is, when the sunset goes down and you are close to the ocean or to some body of water, then there is the sun that reflects on the ocean, and there is that ray of beam that just comes right at you when you look at that.
Yes.
And it comes at you no matter where you are.
Yeah.
Directly at you. And from that experience, I concluded, well, actually, I'm not that special, because the next person just next to me have also that kind of experience of receiving that light.
Yeah.
And it's like no matter where you are, you can receive the light. You can feel the light. And for some reason that really stayed in my psyche, early on.
Yeah, it's so great. This is just opening up something before we jump into some of these questions about, and especially like during the holiday. I mean, when we think about Hanukkah, right, for instance, it's all about, this is the season of the lights, right? And when we think about Christmas, the Christmas lights, the light. So we're all coming back to, there's a tip, right, for like talking about seeing.
Right.
So let's dive into that a little bit.
Absolutely. I think that ties in very much with the mindful holiday self-care tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome to the holiday season, everyone.
Let's F the depression.
Oh yeah.
The sadness, the poor me.
Well, it's part of it, but what the thing that is really thrilling, first of all, this is my favorite time of the year. So this is where I'm happy to talk about it, today. And what is the most thrilling for me is to think that people all around the world are coming together to celebrate this time of the year.
Right.
Just imagine that, people of all faiths, tradition, and religious belief that come together in ritual and ceremony to celebrate the relevance of that new cycle, and in celebration, the festival of light, and the common theme that across culture includes giving. Oh my goodness, giving is a big one here, sharing, and connecting with family and friends, and of course enjoying the amazing holiday foods, right? Which you know so well, Donna.
Yeah.
But also, and I think we really have to talk also about that, is that the holidays may often present a huge areas of demand and stress. And we seem rushing, we worry, we are preparing for things, navigating the last minute task. And also on top of giving gift, we give our time and energy to plan, attending event. And sometimes it feels that we feel like we are obligated, to do that, and we exude, a happy, carefree face, even though we don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And that's the truth, So there is a lot of emotion that can come up. and such as, anxiety, guilty because we don't have enough money to buy gift, angry that we're spending so much time with family that we may not even care for, so it's challenging, and the grief, for those who have lost someone, it's a hard time, and also with COVID, right?
Right.
So how can we minimize basically the stress, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
So let's talk a little bit about self-care, and let's define it, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
Yeah, so for some, self-care may be labeled as luxury, right? It can feel sometimes that self-indulgent, selfish, or perhaps maybe even guilty to put ourselves first, when there is so much to do. But I assure you, self-care is not selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Because mindful self-care is a practice defined as a process of being aware of how we attend to our physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. And that can be included in every task we do, from brushing our teeth to making a meal or whatever. And the mindfulness is the awareness that emerges through paying attention to the unfolding of our experience, moment to moment. And that's really the big tip here. And we all have that capacity to intentionally focus on what we experience in the moment. And if we include also our breath to it, like maybe even now everybody can take a deep breath, deep inhalation and longer exhalation. Yeah, that opens the field. It opens even the field, even with curiosity and groundedness. So self-care is also a feminine quality. Oh, there is a little doggy in the background here.
Yeah, we'll
so
talk about
self-care is a feminine quality because we can, in a pausing, we can listen to our body. We pause, we breathe, and maybe we can even put things in perspective. Yeah, what am I doing? How am I feeling? Ooh. And listening also how the body responds to what is needed at this moment in time.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm sure everybody can agree with that, right? And we do it not just for us, but also for the people around us, because it benefits them to see us, with a good energy, Yeah.
Well, one thing that I really, really appreciate that, especially the breath, and Telly, you'll put the new blog in the chat for if you haven't read what I wrote this past week. It kind of really reinforces what you're saying. And the thing that I wanted to just add to this tip of like feeling like, with all the holiday things going on, you can either say no, and that could be the best thing. Like it's really easy to say I'm not feeling well, and everybody says stay home.
Right. I'm going to get into some other tips here. Right now, it's like a kind of general things.
But I just wanted to say something to that because it really sparked something to me. But another thing about that going or not going, sometimes it's really better to go, and then you can always leave. Because a lot of times it's just opening the door, getting out the door, because we've been all isolated and paralyzed on some level, and to re-enter. And so there's two ways to look at that. And I really appreciate you bringing that up, because there is a real social phobia thing going around, especially with COVID coming up again, and this fear. And we want to get over that, and just be safe and sometimes the best thing to do is just get out. like we're doing right here, and having conversations with people to get out of our own way. So keep going, Alvita. I just really
Yeah, absolutely. I think you brought up a good point here. Absolutely. And there is also part of the self-care also is asking the question, what am I celebrating? What am I really celebrating? And who is celebrating?
Yes.
You know? And that can this question actually can make a huge difference of how we can turn into winter holidays to holidays. Holidays. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You know, because when you hear in a store, you know, the post office or in, you know, grocery store, happy holidays to you, you know, it's a phrase, you know, and it's a phrase, but what does it mean? What does it mean? You know, and the truth for me, it means something different to everyone, you know, because people of all faiths celebrated the importance of this time of the year. So there is different historical events and stories, you know, with some different values. So Merry Christmas, right? That's the birth of the baby Jesus, you know, the messenger of love and light. And for some others is Happy Hanukkah. Let's not forget that one, you know, honoring the light of the menorah, which miraculously, you know, lasted for 8 days. And there is a solstice. Yeah, the solstice that honor the darkness and give cheer to the return of the light and the return of the sun. So coming back to the tip, right? I think I went a little bit sidetracked here. So in terms of the tip, so decide what ritual and tradition, what am I celebrating? What ritual and tradition you celebrate? You know, and set your priority, be creative and realistic in that. And the holidays does not have to look like last year holidays, you know, because we change, we grow, and tradition can change also as well. So choose what works for you. And certainly adding a sense of play and laughter, it's a good thing, yeah?
Yeah, play and laughter. And good healthy food. Let's get into those healthy food tips.
Yeah, for sure. Communication, good communication. When we have good communication, that can eliminate some stress too, right? So communication with friends and family about your needs. And that includes preparing and planning ahead, you know, and that allows a little bit more freedom, right? Find time to sit quietly and breathe, even for a short moment of time, you know, take a break and just stretch and just breathe the sunshine, you know, take a little moment to unwind and remember what you are celebrating. And if you are feeling really anxious, then take a breath from your belly. You know, take a deep breath from your belly. That helps to calm the nervous system, and you may even want to massage the vagus nerve. And yawning is also very good. Very good. That helps a lot. Yeah. Another tip is to allow any feelings to be felt. Absolutely, from blissful joy, you know, when you see your grandkids and all of that, to the holiday blues. Because this is real, you know, there is sadness, there is loneliness, there is grief, I mean, specifically with COVID, you know, anger and tears may happen, you know. So feel them, and mindfulness, with mindfulness, just step inside of your body and observe what's going on. give some space. And that really helps tremendously to just not being too attached to the story. Give space. Yeah?
Yeah. I love it.
Does everybody agree with me so far? Yes? Good. Good.
The only thing I'm gonna throw in here, when you're doing this, just step outside. Don't do that at the dinner table. Definitely want to yawn and do the
You know
Vegas
what, Donna? Maybe you can even do that at the You may teach somebody, you know, but it's okay to do that, to relax. Because speaking of dinner table, right? Christmas dinner, or, you know, it's like, it can be a lot of differences between family, and it could be, you know, a lot of tension also as well, you know. Even though it is the time of the year, you know, when we come together, we need to feel, you know, in loving harmony. But sometimes it's hard to accept your family member and even friend, you know, they may not live up to your expectation. So, like you said early on, Donna, if your family or friend are kind of abusive or really unhealthy for you, you have the choice to say no.
That's right.
That's right. You have the chance to say no.
Mm-hmm.
No? And no also to parties. You know, you don't have to go to all parties.
Yeah.
So
but don't miss them either. If you know, sometimes you got to get out of the rut too. So, and then you can always leave.
That's right. That's right. So, you know, delegate your task. I mean, that you probably know all of that, except, you know, help, and let go of what's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another big one also with a gift, which is such a big part of it and big stress here, is to stick to a budget. You know, decide how much money you can afford to spend. You know, you can always do a gift exchange or make something, you know, that's always a possibility. Oh, another one also that I think you are going to appreciate, Donna.
Okay.
Is, yeah. You know, before holidays, you know, we may stick to a routine of how we eat, you know, less sugar and blah, blah, blah stuff. And then when come the holidays, you know, everything is being thrown out, right? So don't abandon your healthy habits. You know, don't overindulge on cookies. Oh, another good one. I'm going to teach everyone because I think that is the jewel here. So when we are really stressed, you know, when we want really the perfect holidays, there is an exercise called stress, that's called smile, that really can change actually your chemistry. So you're going to go to a mirror, but not now, you know, on your own time. You go to a mirror and you start smiling at yourself. Maybe everybody can do that because they can see each other, right?
Yeah, smile. Take off the camera. I'll put the camera.
Do an inner smile when you think about, you know, what makes you really happy and content, fulfilled. Mm-hmm. So let's just for a minute or two here. Let's just see yourself with that smile and feel yourself with that smile.
Yeah.
And you breathe that smile.
Mm.
You pause with that smile. Maybe for a minute or two. You know, it may feel maybe a little strange to you, but practice that because that change the body response. Just like that. It's a jewel. It's just basically saying, hey, I love you. You are okay. All is well. Yeah. So I would like to conclude maybe with that those winter tips by saying maybe that no matter what tradition you celebrate, we are all part of a long lineage of ancestors from all around the world who have celebrated these holidays. And over the centuries, celebrating light, are becoming an important part of the tradition. So it is a sacred time. And it seems to me also that the thread of light, that thread of light is what connects us. Our inner and outer light. And that connection is what breathes us, connects us all, unifying us, and also with nature, with the elements, our ancestors, people all around the world. And just close your eyes for a moment and just imagine people celebrating the light, happy in their heart. Oh, that is delicious. That is really food, isn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's a potent time for regeneration and renewal, for stillness, reflection, introspection, and also intention setting, right? Where we reflect on who we are, what are we doing, what we need to let go of, things that we no longer serve us, and what do we want? What do we really want? And for me, it's this time of really darkness. We are called to be the ring of light, right? Donna, you are that, and because we live in a planet in a realm of duality, light, dark, truth and lie, creation and destruction. And in this time of the year, rather than becoming polarized or paralyzed by fear, then we hold the wholeness of light within. We have the opportunity to stand tall and align together with that source of light.
Absolutely.
So, and shine, just like the sun behind you, Donna. Let it shine. Let it shine.
Let it shine. Well, I really appreciate all of that, and I'm signing everything love and light. Big love and aloha. Aloha is like the light too, but love and light, and I really appreciate that. And one thing that I think that would be super helpful, with in addition to these tips, that I know there are certain acupuncture points and pressure points on our body that we can be doing sitting even at the dinner table, or when we're in an uncomfortable conversation, rather than doing a really loud yawn or doing this. You could do both. But what are some of those points, tip points that people can do to calm their vagus nerve also, and to just
very good question here. Very good question. Yes. The body has energy for sure. Yeah. So let's see. Well, first of all, I think we are maybe familiar with the vagus nerve, right? And it just starts way back behind your head here, and you just move very, very, slowly going down, and you do that with the breath. Breathing deep is so important, and specifically when you exhale, long and deep. Okay, let's take a deep breath right now all together. And then you relax the mandibular jaw, and you just good. And again, take a deep breath And good, 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 good. Oh, really good. Also, another point, maybe before maybe I get maybe to the winter food according to TCM, according to traditional Chinese medicine.
Yeah.
And this is what I did actually before coming up on the show, because I was very nervous. And it's like, you don't hold back. You just totally let go of wherever you are at. You let go, you express that. So you may want to stand up and you just blah, 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 and you tap your head and you go blah, 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 and you stand probably maybe like crazy, but you do that. You know, and you blink your eyes and you take a deep, strong yawning. And all of that actually is part of the neuroscience, actually, that helps to formulate and to let go of the linear momentum, you know, of a thought. And then you find yourself in a whole different ways of experiencing yourself. So it's a wonderful thing to do.
And there's so many points in our head. I know, like,
yeah, but just by doing that, just very gently like that, and blinking your eyes, just that, change, formulate a new biology.
Mm-hmm. And that comes to the tapping. You know, there's that whole tapping.
Yeah, there is a tapping, but that's a different story. You know, I understand that one, and I also do that kind of energy work in my practice too. But just by what I was doing here, it's magic. Try that and smile. Keep on smiling at yourself. Okay.
Are there any particular points on the hand too? Like, so you're sitting or you're...
So let's see. So this one here is a good point. We call that the oku point, which is basically right there.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good one. Okay. And there is also this one, a very relaxing one here. Everybody see me? Yeah, good. And then let's forget to breathe. And whatever you do, breathe and make sure you exhale deeper than the exhalation. Okay.
I want everybody to see. Alan, can you show that up again? What is that, an acupuncture thing, or is that an egg beater? That is really cool. I know if you're listening on the Spotify, you can't see what he's got there, but it's like a major pressure pointer thing. I love that.
It's a head scratcher.
Wow.
This is very good.
They feel so wonderful. It's what she's talking about. Instead of doing it with your fingers, you do it with this little thing. Man, it's just great.
I love that. Where'd you find that, Alan?
They have them different places. I'll send you one. Anybody wants to know, I'll email me, alanshouty@yahoo.com.
Okay, cool. Put that in the chat.
That's another tremendous tool, Alan. Yeah, thank you for showing that. And it's true. That feels good.
I'll send you one too.
All right.
Very
good. Very good.
Great. Yeah, and I know there's a lot of points on my feet, and sometimes I find that when I'm getting stressed or nervous, especially around, you know, even like at a party, I flip my shoes off and I press my toes, like almost like I'm on high heels, you know, press my toes and get the ball of my the ball of the toes, my foot, where my toes are right here, and I press on that, and it just like releases a lot of tension in my whole body. And
it's interesting, and Donna, because it looks like what you are pointing out is the kidney point, which is in Chinese medicine, the winter is also very much in association with the kidneys. So this is good that you are bringing that up. In winter time, the TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, focus on the kidneys, and maybe can I touch on the food actually that
let's do that. We have 15 minutes, so let's focus on that, and then
that can be brief.
Yeah.
Okay, so the food that specifically nourishes and warms the kidney, because the kidney needs to be warm, they are black beans, kidney beans, a lot of beans, aduki beans, mung beans. So those kind of beans really support the kidney very much. Make broth, and I know, Donna, you are the queen of broth here. You do your broth with bone, isn't it?
Yes, I do.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best. So that warm up the body, warms also the kidneys. Let's see, what are the food? Walnut, chestnut, black sesame seed also, and dark leafy greens. Any kind of dark colored food would also strengthen the kidneys. So dates, mushroom, eggplants are also traditionally considered supportive for the kidneys. So those mostly are the food.
Yeah. So this is interesting because, I always think kidney beans, right? And you said black beans, but I'm sure kidney beans
Kidney
fall.
beans? Oh yeah, kidney beans. I believe I said that. Yeah, kidney beans.
You said black beans, and I thought, well, what about kidney beans? We're talking about.
I forgot that one. Yeah. I forgot also, during the winter season, there is also squash, potatoes, the root vegetables, carrots, cabbage. And in terms of fruit, the apples and the pears are good for winter time.
Yeah, eating seasonal, like Ayurvedic almost. I love that way of eating that diet that really works with seasonality. And same thing with the macrobiotic diet, also looking at the seasonality of the food. But I love how in Chinese medicine, all of these things speak to specific organs, and I would love you to go into that a little bit in regards to like your muscle testing and beam, how that works in relation to Chinese medicine as well. So would you go into that, tell us a little bit about beam and what that stands for?
Beam.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my favorite subject. Beam meaning bioenergetic alignment method. And it's not that I created that method, because it's a form of energy testing, which energy testing, muscle testing, kinesiology has been, in the energetic medicine for quite a long time. But I put it together in a way that is very, very coherent and involves the not just the physical, but also the emotional and health, and whatever you are dealing with it every day. So for me, how would I start? There's so much to say about that. And the key to true healing is to acknowledge the existence of a multidimensional anatomy, and to understand also the integral relationship of the subtle energy bodies with the physical, the emotional, and spiritual bodies. And usually we don't do that, right? Because the fundamental, how would I say? Let me pause for a moment and see what I really want to convey here, because I'm aware of the time. And so basically, I would say that this tool beam, is a transformative and empowering approach to health and well-being. First of all, it's easy to learn, it's practical, and it's a very reliable method. To give you an example, last night, I woke up in the middle of the night and it was raining, and I was thinking, my gosh, did I left my windows open in the car? It was 2 o'clock in the morning, right? So of course, I apply my tool constantly, daily. So I ask, because it's a matter of asking and you shall receive, basically, if my windows are closed or open. Fortunately, they were closed. But anyway, so this is the essence, actually, of being. It can be used in many ways, in many aspects of your life. It can be used in healing the physical, determining, the root of illnesses, determining the lack of nutrient or the excess of nutrient that you may have in your body, your nutritional values. If you are allergic to certain food, for example, food sensitivity. It could address also the emotional body, discovering, what limiting pattern or belief system do I have that no longer serve me. You can use it in relationship issue, in business issue, and actually any kind. It's like the sky the limit.
Well, show us, because you're saying we can use it, but how do we use it, and what exactly is this? Can you give us a demonstration and explain that so that we can start using it?
Right. Yes, and to be able to understand that also, we have to understand that the human body is not just a complex system of matter. We are not just matter. We are also a complex, integrated life energy system. We are energy being. Mm-hmm. So to give an example, okay, maybe a demonstration, Dana? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before I said that, so energy testing, it engage a conversation with our body and our innate wisdom. The body can determine what is good, beneficial, life-enhancing, supportive, the body is strong, right? Or what is also detrimental and weak. And this is very important that we have that understanding, that gift is inside of us. So when we do the energy testing, and I don't like to call muscle testing because I don't really test muscle. I don't do kinesiology. Let's take the left hand here. That finger, right? The middle finger, and the thumb together. Okay. And really, that is not going to give justice to what I'm doing here, because even though it's simple, but it's also very complex. So I put my finger together, and I put it in a way like, the padding, when you feel the padding is, the fingers start to stick together. Okay, that's a good position. And now with my other hand, I'm going to enter basically the fingers here, and I'm going to put it apart. So I hold the two fingers together. I introduce the two fingers to be able either to open the two fingers or not. So it can be two things. The finger can stay together or the finger can open. Like the same example, when I ask, my window of the car, my window are closed or my window is open, that's what I did. And when it is basically a yes, because there is two fundamental energy in this world, there is the yes and the no, right? There is the yes, which is flowing, vibrant, healthy, and the no, which is the controlling, the righteousness, tightness, right?
Yeah.
So we are able to see basically what is true, what is false, what is supportive, and what is not.
Right. Well, can I just say, I just want to share this with my personal experience with this, and even you can do this like when you're doing this, like, should I go out tonight or not? But you have to really think about the question, because it's that energy, right? And if you get a lot of
absolutely,
right, or like
absolutely.
you had mentioned a lot of different foods there, but not everybody can eat eggplant, or not everybody does well with beans. So or certain supplements.
That's right.
You can.
That's why it comes handy. That's why to me it's essential. I would say maybe 80% of my practice is based on that fundamental principle that we are energy being, and I use the energetic evaluation for everything, and creating some chart to try to navigate what's really going on. And it's simple to learn, but it's very complex also, because there is many nuances to it. But what I have to add to that is the benefit of it, because it's not just finding the right answer, but it's also, it increases intuition, it increases also self-confidence, the trust that you can put on yourself when you realize, hey, I don't have to stress so much to try to figure things out, using the mind. So we use the energy testing basically invites us to cultivate also our inner powers, which are presence. We have to be in the body. We have to be present when we test, mindfulness, of course. What is my intention and attention and focus? Learning about the connection, like you said, how am I going to ask, and also we have to surrender about the output. There is no mind when we test, so there is an action of humility in that. Trust is a big one. How can we trust ourselves, when our mind thinks this way or thinks this way? But if we can align, with our own knowing, then bingo.
And that takes that time, that breathing, that self-care, brings us back to all the tips that we started this conversation with: self-love, self-care. And the more of that we do, the happier and healthier not only are you going to be, but people around you, because remember, we're energy beings. And if you guys don't all understand Beam, you can go on Alvita's site. We'll put that.
Yes, everybody can call me or text me.
She'll go into more detail, because we really are pretty much, our time is up. And I wanted to just say how grateful I am. And before you do some, I'd love to have the opportunity for you to do some closing remarks. I just wanted to let you guys know, everybody who's listening on live and who's on the recording or on the restream, how much all of us at Soul to Soul, really, that's us, a dose of positivity. Our company is Soul to Soul. Really love and appreciate and honor you all for listening, taking the time to love yourself, love one another, and be part of the change that needs to happen in this world. That we are part of this energy. We are part of this test that's going on out there. And I also wanted to let you guys know that next week we have another incredible guest coming on. I'm looking, I want to get the name right, but not her name, but the show is called Pets, People, Life, and Longevity. And the person who will be speaking is Jan Jennison. She's amazing, another pet healer, but she works a lot with energy, a lot of what Alvita is also saying, and many of our other past guests, realizing that we're not just this flesh and blood, right? We're not just our smile or our frown. We have a lot going on, and once we take the time and the energy to slow down and really look deep within ourselves, and not what society is trying to force upon us in terms of everything we're talking about the holiday that isn't good for us, making sure that the greatest gift of all is tuning into ourselves and getting into that being light, that light of beaming, that's light, the light within ourselves year round. So I want to remind you all that you are, like Alan put in here, we are our own individual DNAs. They're not, one of us is alike. And so no imposter syndrome, no trying to be somebody else, showing up at a party or not being your authentic self. Feel, if you're present, you're going to feel that energy like Alvita's been talking about. We have lost so much sensory perception of who we truly are. We get lost in other people's thoughts. I mean, just think about the person who gives you a gift and you're going, why did they give this to me? They don't even know who I am. Or a kid who's 5 years old, who's 8 years old now, gets a gift like a stuffed animal, like when they were 5. Don't they know I grew up? A kid can figure it out. You and I certainly can figure out. We all change, like Alvita said. Every minute, every second, we're changing. And I love having a wise woman on, sharing all of this stuff, Alvita. I want to thank you so much. And I also want to remind everybody that we would so greatly appreciate if you check out Eco-Inspired by Nature. We'll put the link in the chat. We were really hoping to do a lot of sales so they could help the GoFundMe Tell program that we have to helping Tell get through her cancer, which she is, with the help of so many people. And we really, really appreciate it if you energetically are looking for a gift for yourself or someone else, or to brighten and bring some light into your home. There's so many beautiful things on there, and everything's 20% off, and you get a free copy of the ebook of Living Like the Future Matters, which Alvita wrote the foreword to. So I'm just thinking, next Thursday we are on. It's right before the holidays. And Alvita, I'd love to invite you, just take a minute or two to close us out with some final remarks, and then we're going to say aloha and big love to everyone. And thank you again for being here. So take it away, Alvita.
Okay, I invite everybody to take a deep breath right now and to be in your body. And I'm just going to say a poem. And the title is Now is the Time. The earth is shaking within its core, and our cores in turn is shaken. Now is the season to wake up from the inside out, proclaiming the interconnection to all living beings, neighbors near and far, sun, star, sea, plants, and the fertile earth, which both gives and takes away. May we return to humility and taste the mystery and beauty beneath our feet and bellies. May our limbs stretch to the sky, our soul kiss the ground, and may we receive love. May we receive love in our minds, hearts, and bodies. And may we bear grace in our bones as we receive who we are. And may compassion arise from our well as we return to the fire of love. Mama Donna, thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you, everyone, for being present.
So beautiful. You wrote that.
Well, actually, I don't know who wrote that. I did not.
It sounds like words.
But I could have.
Yes. Oh, that was so beautiful. What a beautiful way to kick off going into the holiday season with you, honey. Thank you so much. And again, thank you everybody so much for coming on. We'll see you next week for another dose of positivity. If you're listening to the replay, please on YouTube, subscribe, like, love. Same thing on Spotify. We so appreciate you all. Big, big love. Happy holidays and mahalo to everybody who came to the show today, and you, Dr. Alvita.
Aloha.